Part 33. The tragedy of our 1997 demolition began with a Weotong tree, a phoenix tree that stood in great-aunt's yard. It blocked part of our house in the northwest corner. When the government did its aerial survey, that section didn't show up in the photo. So when our home was evaluated for demolition compensation, that room didn't exist. Neither did our huge courtyard. What had once been my grandfather's private family property turned into a 70-square-meter public apartment in the newly built, faraway Dongjin neighborhood, the most remote part of town. And even that came with rent. If we'd wanted to buy it outright, the cost back then was 250 yuan per square meter, so only 20,000 yuan total. But our family couldn't afford it. It took more than a decade before we finally scraped together enough money to buy that little place and truly call it home. After the first road expansion of Gila Road in 1995, the city built long privacy walls on both sides, freshly whitewashed, bright as snow. To make it look civilized, they had the students from Chengdong Elementary paint cheerful murals on the walls at their own expense, no less, pretending everything behind them wasn't broken bricks and rubble. At the time, I was in 3rd grade. A group of teacher trainees from Taizhou Normal College came to our school for internships. One of them, a young woman with short hair and glasses, was assigned to our class. She was gentle, patient, soft-spoken. The trainees were only allowed to supervise us on Wednesday afternoons, when the regular teachers had staff meetings. That day, she taught us a song called Prayer. It was the most beautiful melody I'd ever heard. I still remember it clearly. It was the first time in my life I felt what music could do. She was my first student teacher, and for a long time, my favorite. In 1st and 2nd grade, our classrooms were in a row of old, low bungalows. When it rained, water leaked through the ceiling. The teachers were miserable, but we kids loved it. Any excuse not to have class was good news. Our homeroom teacher back then was Teacher Ye. By 3rd and 4th grade, the old classrooms were torn down, and our class was moved to the north building, right beside a residential complex separated by just one wall. Those apartments were considered luxurious at the time. One of my classmates, Su Huiyang, lived on the 5th floor of that building. Our math teacher used to joke, "If you just build a slide from your window to the schoolyard, you'll never be late again." Too bad there wasn't a gate between us. He still had to walk half an hour to school every morning. Our homeroom teacher in those years was Teacher Wu, a frail, very thin old lady who couldn't ride a bicycle, only a tiny tricycle to get to work. She lived near the sports stadium, which became important later. Because the school was building new classrooms, we lost access to our playground. So both the spring and autumn sports meets had to be held at the stadium. For us students, that was the best thing ever. No classes, more freedom, and an excuse to wander. Teacher Wu was strict but kind, and everyone respected her. But one semester, she broke her leg, and the school rehired a retired teacher, Old Lady Li, to take over. That became our collective nightmare. Teacher Wu, being a language teacher, usually gave us a composition only on weekends, time to think, imagine, and struggle through our childish essays. But Old Lady Li didn't believe in time. One Wednesday she assigned us a travel essay due the very next day. My two closest friends and I panicked. What could we possibly write about? So we decided to go make a real trip after school. We'd walk to the North City River Park, which we thought was a grand destination. It's called East City River Park now. There was an old city wall inside, near Renmin Road, and we thought that would make a great adventure story. When we got there, the gates were already locked, the staff gone for the day. So we did the only logical thing, we climbed the wall. We ran around exploring until dark, then went home exhausted and stayed up until 11 p.m. writing our travel essays. Looking back, it was ridiculous, but it felt so serious then. Old Lady Li lived right above the wonton shop where I had breakfast every morning. She was very fat, and one day, while I was eating, she came out wearing nothing but long underwear, carrying a chamber pot to empty. I froze. Bent my head down fast, pretending not to see. And silently prayed she hadn't seen me either. Maybe she hadn't. She was old, after all, and her eyesight probably wasn't much better than mine is now.